Kinga Szabo here from Alman Beacon. Today's topic is intellectual property. Those of you who have been watching my videos know that I'm really up for and I'm really pro intellectual property. I think it's an underrated subject. It's where your real value, your real asset value lies. So first of all, let us clear what is intellectual property. Intellectual property is anything that is related to creativity. For example, I create a painting. That's my IP. That's my intellectual property. Or I create a business process. That is my intellectual property. Or I create a cake recipe. That is my intellectual property. Or I create a domain name for my company. Again, my intellectual property. So intellectual property can be designs, architectural plans, logos, domains, business processes, recipes, or songs, for example, music, paintings, art. It can all be summarized under intellectual property. So the key word here is creativity. It is a result of a creation. Whether it's artistic or business-like, it doesn't matter. It is the result of a creation. Why is this important as a subject at all? Your intellectual property, just stop here for a moment and think. If you have just an average business, and this is not an invalidation, if you have an ordinary average business, how many intellectual properties you have? Let's say you have a car wash salon. You have a brand name. Your brand has a logo. You have a certain procedure how you clean the cars so that your customers will be satisfied. And you have a domain. These are all your intellectual properties, and you don't even realize how much value you have at hand. Let's say I'm an investor and I want to buy your car wash company. I go to you, I ask for your financial statements. I will see that you have cleaning tools and maybe even machines. You have a long-term lease and you have a certain amount of money on your bank account. So these are your assets. And I'm going to propose a purchase price based on the assets. However, this will be undervaluing your real worth. Why? Because we did not include your business process, your brand name, your domain, which generates income for you. We only accounted for the assets which are actually listed in the financial statement. Intellectual property is an asset. That's why it is important. It is an underrated asset. Those of you who are not familiar with the term, asset is something the company is using for generating revenue. So what can these be? This can be your office, your computers, your tools, your website, anything that is used to generate income. Those are called assets. That's why intellectual property is an important factor. If we don't list the intellectual property among the assets, then they will be forgotten and your financial statements will not reflect the real value of your company. That's why it is very crucial to list your IPs in your assets. Now here comes the next question. What is the fair value of the intellectual property? I think this question is probably the most debated question among economists, and you will not find two persons saying the same thing. So the value is debated. That's why I always suggest my clients to have an international valuation company issuing a certificate of the value of these intellectual properties. When it is done, nobody will question, as they have no means to question it. Nobody can question whether that is the fair value of your intellectual property or not. The moment you have such a certificate, you can include the value of your intellectual property among your assets, which will obviously increase the value of your company. And if we take the same example as I said earlier, now me as an investor, when I approach you to buy your car wash company, I will see that your company value is a lot larger than it was previously. So the price I'm going to offer you will be a lot higher than previously anticipated. This is why it is really essential to include the value of the intellectual property in your assets. And you can get the valuation done by any reputable agency. We can assist you with that if you're interested, but you can approach any international firms to do the valuation for your intellectual properties. Now the first step, valuation, I'll just put valuation here so we don't forget. And there comes the next step, which is also very crucial, protecting your IP. I have also started my company from scratch. I have started many companies from scratch. And when you are starting a company from zero, you're too busy building your company. You're too busy running after sales and generating more credibility for your company. You tend to forget about the protection of your intellectual property, protecting your brand, protecting your logo, protecting your domain. So nobody can copy it. Nobody can copy and use your brand. Nobody can misuse it. Nobody can claim that it was theirs first because they registered it first. It's your responsibility to take all the necessary steps to protect your intellectual property, to protect everything that you have. I mean, seriously, if I was to ask you, where do you keep your cash? You will tell me that, oh, well, I have a safe at home, or I have a safe in the bank, or I'm keeping it on the bank account, right? So you take security measures to protect your cash, but you're not taking any security measures to protect your intellectual property. Honestly, it doesn't make any sense. Your intellectual property is yours. You have to protect it the same way you would protect your cash or any physical assets. So protecting it, there are a couple of ways, but some of them can be quite costly. But you don't have to go to extremes and spend an arm and a leg when trying to protect your intellectual property. You have to choose a very smart way, and there are smart ways how you can gain protection in most of the countries of the planet and still not spend even the silver from grandma's drawers. So registering the IPs. So we can also assist you with that, but again, you can approach any lawyers or any IP registration agencies. They can also do a good job. I'm more for the fact that you consider your intellectual properties as your main asset or one of the main assets that you have. You protect them and use them to build value in your company. This is what I would like to see that you're doing, because this way we can create an environment and financial statements which are more, how to say that nicely, investors, whether they are equity investors or professional investors, they will have more appetite for your company, and that can give you the necessary financial boost to reach the heights and the expansion that you have always been dreaming of. So please ask me questions, how to do the IP protection. Whatever question comes to your mind regarding the intellectual properties, I will be happy to answer them. Please drop your comments below and register or subscribe to our channel We will be showing various subjects, all in the field of business, building a business in the UAE mainly, and regarding IPs and protecting of intellectual property. I hope you found it valuable. Please like my video and don't forget to subscribe. This was Kinga Szabo from Almana Beacon.